Today's question is whether or not you should take a breath test when you're stopped for DUI. I'm not going to answer the question directly because everything is fact specific, but I'm going to give you an example. I know 3 lawyers, and these 3 lawyers were all, on separate occasions, all 3 of these lawyers were stopped for DUI. By the way, these lawyers are all involved in the criminal law field, whether prosecution, defense, or having worked on either or both sides. All 3 of these lawyers did not take the breath test. All of them were arrested. As a matter of fact, all 3 lawyers didn't take any of the tests, neither the breath test or the field sobriety tests. Now, like I said, they were arrested. So did refusing the test prevent them from being arrested? It didn't. But what was their objective? Their objective was to avoid a conviction, and at least in their cases, they did so, all 3 of them. In understanding about breath tests, you need to know that there are 2 types of breath tests. When a person is stopped at the scene, police will often administer what is referred to as a preliminary breath test, or PBT. And that's a small handheld machine that the officer puts in your face and says, hey, blow here. The results of that test are used by the officer in determining what he wants to do. Now, the officer already suspects you're under the influence or he wouldn't be sticking it in your mouth. The results of that test are not typically admitted in a court, and the reason for that is they're not considered reliable enough to be admitted in court. But are they used in evaluating the case? Certainly. Both the police officer looking at the scene and the prosecutor later on are going to consider that in deciding what to do. Let's assume that for whatever reasons you have been arrested now for DUI, whether you took or you didn't take the test. You're now going to be brought down to the jail, and at the jail they will administer a second, or at least ask you to take a second breath test. And this test is a test that is approved by the Department of Forensic Sciences. Now, you don't have to take this test either, just like you don't have to take any of the tests. That's not to say that the state of Alabama, as well as the police officer, aren't going to do everything they can to encourage you to take the test. Part of what the state of Alabama does to encourage people to take the test is you are advised that if you don't take the test, they will suspend your Alabama driving privilege for a set period of time. A lot of people are afraid of that and they go ahead and take the test. Now, if you take the test and you're over the legal limit, you're still going to have your driving privilege suspended. Again, going back to these lawyers, none of them took the test. Was it the right decision? Well, that decision depends on the objective that a person has. These 3 lawyers, they all had the same objective, which was, I don't want to get convicted. They were less concerned about the fact that the state of Alabama may take their driving privilege. So they were willing to sacrifice or take the risk of losing their driving privilege, at least temporarily, in order to try to increase their odds of not getting a conviction in the DUI case. And they were all successful at not getting a DUI conviction. So there you have it. That's food for thought. If you find yourself in a legal jam and you want our help, just give us a call. The information's below, and thank you for watching.